Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today I want to bring you the update on this very beautiful, satisfying, permanent Vaal Righteous Fire Occultist Profane Bloom Bomber Speed High Tier Mapper. And yeah, it's not permanent Vaal Righteous Fire because we currently don't have Vaal Righteous Fire on, but in maps we do have. So, first of all, before we're gonna do anything with this build showcase thingish, I want to apologize on the last video because, yeah, people were kind of upset that on the first video of this build guide, I didn't show any occultist gameplay footage, and this has actually one simple main reason. As you continued watching the video, you will see, or you saw, that my helm was white, right? My gloves did not exist. I was using a headhunter for stats. I was level 70, the weapon wasn't crafted, so basically you have an incomplete character without gear, without craft or something. So the question was like, what do you actually wanted me to play in that scenario? Level 70 or 73, cannot regen Righteous Fire because too many degen, half crafted gear. I don't think you would be happy to see an incomplete character. Therefore, we're gonna run 2 maps today, at least. Like, we're gonna do a little bit of Delft and also a map showcase for you to just showcase this build properly. Alright, so I would like to run an Elder Toxic Sewer, but wait a second, alert box off. I would like to run an Elder Toxic Sewer, but I don't have some, so the other next thing would be an Elder Lair map, which has also a pretty nice layout. What do we have here? Ellie Equilibrium, Crit Strike Chance, Multiplier, Double Reflect. Holy fuck, this is a suicide map. Okay, we're just gonna die in the map showcase. Isn't that great? PogChamp. Okay, probably. Maybe not, maybe. So, this is actually played as a normal Righteous Fire. So we're gonna use Righteous Fire, we kill off mobs. There is just one thing I want to explain before the map showcase, just if you're wondering, okay? We're playing with a Soul Ripper Flask. That means I'm not allowed to use Vaal Righteous Fire before my Soul Ripper Flask is full again, okay? That means it can happen if the mob density falls off and I'm not killing fast enough that my Vaal Righteous Fire wears off, but I could use it because I have enough souls, but I will not use it just because my Flask is not ready. The reason for that is as soon as I use my Vaal Righteous Fire without the Flask, I'm having soul gain prevention. And this lasts for 38 seconds almost. So, small explanation here, okay? So what we're gonna do is, we're just gonna use my face run here. We're just gonna pop off the first couple of mobs here. So we got the first Vaal Righteous Fire ongoing, which should be in the next couple of seconds. Now it is ready. I could use it, but in this map I just wait until I'm in the tunnel because otherwise, yeah, could fall off and there's not enough density. So, popping Flask, popping Vaal Righteous Fire, and now we're just gonna run like a madman, popping everything, super fancy, fast, clear speed. It's also quite nice for Legion. It's not the best for Legion, but it is quite fast for Legion, okay? So, like the other builds that I played would like one-shot the Legions and stuff, but you're not allowed to forget, this is tier 16, and the other builds were for what, like tier 2, tier 5, something like that. So this is actually a build that can do Legion on high tier maps as well. And this is exactly what this build is made for. So, Viridian Jewel, is that? No, it's not. Okay. So, we're just gonna pop this Monolith here, pop Flasks, then we use Vaal Righteous Fire, and we're just gonna run through the Legion here. Some of those Legion dudes are pretty tanky, but you encounter that probably with other characters as well, especially when you meet the bosses and so on. They kind of have a lot of life, and you need to be careful on those, okay? These dudes, these rare packs, can actually one-shot you. Okay, basically not one-shot, because we have a lot of regen and life pool and stuff. But you're just always gonna make sure on those Legion packs that you're walking around, you know? So you basically are just passively dodging everything they do. But besides that, it's basically just running around and just popping everything, which is super enjoyable. So here in Orb of Annulment, this is the way now, okay? I have only Righteous Fire, but my Vaal Righteous Fire is ready, but my Flask is not. And this is why I'm just going to continue this run here without. Now Flask is full, popping everything, and we're just gonna continue, right? Like, depending on the mob density, it's not a problem, as you see here. My Vaal Righteous Fire lasts still for like 6-7 seconds, and my Flask is full again, popping Vaal Righteous Fire. And you're just gonna keep on going like that. So, it's actually a super satisfying build to play, it's actually a lot of fun, and it's fast. And this is exactly what I wanted this build to be. So, boss damage incoming. So I'm not popping my flask now, just so I have it on the boss, obviously. So we're gonna run in here, popping those last couple of mobs here, go into the boss, and basically just pop flask and just shoot this guy dead. Just be careful on this boss here, because he might just kill you with the wolves, okay? Just use your face run and run around, and yeah. Normally it's not that close, but you guys saw how stupid this map was rolled with extra damage, critical strike chance, multiplier and whatnot, you know, it's a little bit of suicide map. Probably shouldn't have picked that one for the showcase, but anyways, you know, whatever. So, here we are in Delft now. And we're just gonna run like, what are we here? Somewhere 300, I guess. Let's level 80. Let's just move down here to this tier 16 that is here. Yeah, level 83. So we're just gonna kill off, I don't know. Let's grab this infested Warren. Pretty much the same playstyle as in the map. The good thing is, in the Delft, in the mine, there is a lot of mobs, okay? So that means we're just gonna pop up the first couple of mobs here, wait until my Vaal Righteous Fire is ready, and popping Flask, and now we're just gonna keep on moving through this Delft. And when is the Flask ready again? It's now ready, popping Flask, popping Vaal Righteous Fire again, and just keep on moving like that. You know, it's super easy, straightforward playstyle with not a lot to think of. Just, you get used to the Flask thing, okay? That's pretty easy to do. It can actually fall off in these areas just because you're not having enough souls to gather. Probably gonna be, yeah. So now it falled off, now Flask is ready, so it's a little bit off cooldown. But I will show you how this build is actually working and how you can actually control that to make it easier or more sustainable. I just think the more you make it sustainable, the less or the more you sacrifice. So that was Delft 383. So as you see, build is working. I'm happy with it. And now we're gonna go to the point where I'm going to explain how everything is working and what you should take care of, or at least what you need to pay attention to. So let me quickly throw everything into my loots tab. Oh god, I don't want to clean that tab. I hate cleaning that tab. But anyway, so how are we gonna start explaining this build? Probably first things first, as I mentioned in the start, with the Flask. I do know that I have like a full explanation video on how Vaal Skills working, linked in the description below, okay? I just want to give you a small example on how this is working in theory, okay? So basically, my Vaal Righteous Fire, I have a lot of increased skill effect duration. On my boots, for example, you can also pick some jewels with increased Vaal effect and so on. So the thing is, I want to make Vaal Righteous Fire last as long as possible. That's why I have my Righteous Fire here with increased duration and efficiency. Efficiency will give skill effect duration, so does the increased duration. So what I want to do is make my Vaal Righteous Fire last as long as possible, right? Mine lasts for 12.56 seconds, right? Sorry. So, and my Flask lasts for 4 seconds. I did not put quality on that because I don't want my Flask to last longer, like unnecessarily, okay? So that means my Flask lasts 4 seconds. That means I'm having 8.55 seconds left. When my Flask stops to work, I have 8.56 seconds left that I'm collecting the souls, or at least not the souls, the Flask charges to use it again, okay? The biggest problem that can occur is when you're killing those mobs here, and you're using your Vaal Righteous Fire without the Flask, okay? Holy shit, that's some jewelers. That's some jewelers. Okay, so I think for the first showcase, I'm using my Flask now, and now I'm just killing stuff. And you will see the Flask is still lasting. Now I'm just gonna kill off mobs here. My Vaal Righteous Fire is already ready, but I will not use it until my Flask has enough stacks again, right? And I will show you afterwards why is that. So I'm just taking a look at my Flask. It's ready now again. I'm just popping the Flask and then just keep on killing. As I said before, the more mobs, the easier it will get. But I don't really see a point to invest more in that case, okay? So let's kill off that Legion here. Let's pop another Vaal Righteous Fire. Pick up all the loot because I'm a poor player. I need everything. Every chaos is important, okay? And yes, I know I have a couple exalts on stash, but that's not the matter here, right? So, okay, let's see what happens if I'm not using my Flask or too late. Like, it's not online. I use my Vaal Righteous Fire. I have soul game prevention. Even if I use my Flasks later on, I have soul gain prevention, and this lasts for 37 seconds, okay? So even if I get my Flask back on, we have to wait until this this soul gain prevention is gone. That's the downside of the build. So you really need to learn how to, like, every time you want to use your Vaal Righteous Fire, the easiest way is to just look at your Flask. Is your Flask ready? Pop it, use Vaal Righteous Fire. If not, just don't. Just kill a couple more mobs with your regular Righteous Fire, and you'll be good, okay? So let's go back into town and let's talk about the gear and what decisions I made for this current state of the build. So, slash hide. Oh, coffee, quick coffee. Ah, okay, good. So, what we're gonna talk first about, either just about the Righteous Fire skill or what is needed or what not. Probably that's the most important thing to know. What do you need for this build to make it possible? And the rest is just life resistance, basically, or energy shield resistance. What you need is this Flask here, okay? No, I know you can play this weapon with the typical Vaal Skills, cost less souls and so on, but since we're actually worried about getting enough Flask charges here, and not worried about getting enough souls, because this getting souls is way easier than getting the Flask charges, right? So that's why I'm not using the reduced Vaal cost of skills. You can do that if you want to min-max, if you want to make this easier to play, but I don't think it's like super necessary, and seeing the price of the Bloodstained Fossils is kind of, yeah, getting way more expensive every single day, so you don't need that, okay? Basically what you need is your Vaal Righteous Fire with increased duration to make it last super long, right? And the Flask. And this is basically, that's basically it, you know? This is the thing that you want to reach. The rest of the build is basically just increased duration for your skill effects, right? To make your Vaal Righteous Fire last longer than the Flask. That's actually the simple thing here, right? But we built in some more tricky stuff in here. And I want to go over that. Since we're using, like, typical Righteous Fire builds, we're using Elemental Overload and Elemental Equilibrium. So, Alley Overload, where Righteous Fire does not hit, okay? It's like a Burning Ground, same as Scorching Ray. That does not hit. So you cannot proc Assassin's Mark on hit, you cannot get anything of that. You cannot even get a Corrupted Blood, because you're never hitting, right? So we have no chance to proc Alley Overload, because for that I need to crit. Righteous Fire cannot crit because it doesn't even hit, right? Same as the Elemental Equilibrium. That means when I hit, it says here, enemies you hit with the elemental damage temporarily gain 25 resistance, and to the other minus 50. So to proc that, I need to hit with something. Usually you had a Stormbrand, for example. You're equipping a Stormbrand, you lay the Stormbrand on the floor. This is lightning damage, right? So when the Stormbrand hits, you get the Alley Overload, 40% more elemental damage, which counts for your Righteous Fire. And the Elemental Equilibrium says you hit something with lightning damage, so the monster gets plus 25 lightning resistance, but he loses 50 fire and 50 cold, okay? And that counts for Righteous Fire. So, and since I'm a super lazy player and I want to make things as easy as possible, I used here a little trick. I have here on my weapon, and this is the important thing here, trigger a socketed spell when you use a hit, when you use a skill, right? And I have this attached basically to my Blade Vortex. So, the thing is, I know that the skill here has a 4 seconds cooldown timer, okay? So it's not like you spamming your skills and you get more and more Blade Vortex stacks, no. You only can get this once every 4 seconds, right? Since we're having a lot of skill effect duration, my Blade Vortex lasts way longer than 4 seconds. The next good thing is when I'm running around and using Stormbrand, for example, I need to aim at a target, right? If I'm playing like the way I do it, I just use Phase Run and run around and drag the Blade Vortex with me. So whatever Blade Vortex hits will get me, when it crits, will get me the Elemental Overload for my Righteous Fire, and for bosses or enemies that live longer and not instantly explode from the Righteous Fire, will take a lightning hit, because I have here lightning damage to spells. That doesn't count for Righteous Fire, it counts for Blade Vortex. So my Blade Vortex is doing a little bit of lightning damage, but the little bit of lightning damage is enough to get the enemy to minus 50 fire resistance, okay? And that's why my Vaal Righteous Fire or Righteous Fire burns even harder. So I'm using that with Phase Run. Phase Run is something I wanted to use anyways, because we are not shield charging, we are not using skills. So whenever I'm using my Phase Run, this will last through, okay? And since we're stacking skill effect duration over and over again, my Blade Vortex lasts longer, my Vaal Righteous Fire lasts longer, and my Phase Run lasts longer. So I have 4 seconds cooldown on Phase Run, but it lasts 5.35 seconds. That means when I'm just continuously every 4 seconds I'm using my Phase Run, it will never fall off because the buff lasts longer than the cooldown of the skill. So, and the cool thing is, Phase Run has 4 seconds cooldown. Trigger a socketed spell, 4 seconds cooldown. That means every time I don't need to pay attention to my Blade Vortex, because I will use my Phase Run anyways to run faster. And although I'm a lazy player, if something makes me faster, I'm using it, okay? Same with the Quicksilver Flask. I'm always having my Quicksilver Flask ready to use, because faster, more loot, you know, just saving time and currency. So, as I said, Blade Vortex with a little bit of lightning damage to spells on my weapon will trigger both. When it crits, my LE Overload, and when it hits, it will get the enemy to minus 50 fire resistance, which is nice. And if you wonder, like, wait a second, your Blade Vortex is smaller than your Vaal Righteous Fire. Yes, that's right, but sometimes you're killing mobs as soon as they touch Vaal Righteous Fire, okay? So I have enough damage. If monsters are popping instantly on Vaal Righteous Fire, what do I need? Elemental Equilibrium and Elemental Overload. And once a mob is more healthy, like more tanky, bosses and so on, it will get by the Elemental Overload and Equilibrium. I'll get more Righteous Fire damage, and I will just blow this dude or burn this dude to death. Okay. That's a very nice thing to have here. So, let's talk about, I think top to bottom, we're just gonna start right away. For the helm, I have a shaper base, Hubris Circlet with increased fire damage. The initial idea was to have a shaped helm so I can roll increased area of effect, which is nonsense, okay? Area of effect helps to get your Vaal Righteous Fire bigger, but it will also make the mana cost of your auras be more, because the aura gets bigger, okay? So that's why I skipped it. So you don't need a shaper base, it was just an idea of me getting a shaper base for increased area of effect before I put the chart together, because now I see I have not enough mana to reserve this extra increased area of effect on my auras, okay? Skip that. Any Hubris Circlet is fine, a lot of energy shield is the only mandatory thing here, okay? If you can get Righteous Fire damage enchant is juicy, but it's only 40% increased, okay? It's not the world, okay? So you can definitely save a lot of currency in here. I crafted strength on it because I'll talk about that later. It's super hard to get the strength requirements. I have here Blood Magic support with Vitality, Discipline, and Enlighten support. Those are the 2 auras that are reserved on life, which currently soaks up 49, so I have 2% life left at the moment. So it's pretty much min-maxed. And we have here like Discipline for additional energy shield and Vitality for regen, kind of obvious. On the weapon, as I said, I rolled increased critical strikes just because the fact that I can use a standalone Scorching Ray. Because usually you would have Blade Vortex and increase critical strike chance, because you want to have a good critical strike chance so you proc your LD Overload, okay? It's not about Blade Vortex damage, because I have a Blade Vortex level 1. Why level 1? Because Righteous Fire is reflect immune, okay? You're not hitting the enemy, so it cannot get reflected. But your Blade Vortex is a spell that does physical damage, right? So when you have a Fist Reflect map, you can basically kill yourself. If your Blade Vortex is level 1, then it's doing, what, 3 to 5 physical damage. If 20% of that 3 to 5 physical damage get reflected, who cares, you know? Same as the weapon craft. I have here the lowest lightning damage to spells craft, okay? If we check here, lightning damage to spells, I have this craft here for 4 transmutations. I could use the highest one, but this will be the same principle, right? I can run LE Reflect maps, but if I have my lightning damage to spells too high and my Blade Vortex is doing too much damage because of that, I'm killing myself. So get the lowest lightning to spells as you can get and the lowest Blade Vortex. I have quality 23 because the more quality you have, the more area of effect it will have. And this is something I also use increased area of effect just because I have the critical strike chance on my weapon, okay? So if you're not using this multi-modded weapon, just go for a lot of fire damage. That's all you need, okay? Then you go Blade Vortex and increase critical strikes and the standalone Scorching Ray for debuffing the enemy even more. Scorching Ray's only purpose is to debuff the enemy and not like the pure damage itself, because it does like Yeah, 7,000 fire damage per second. That's literally nothing. Okay, so as I said, Blade Vortex increase crit or Blade Vortex with area of effect if you have a weapon like this. Okay, the increased critical strikes. So next to the shield, Rise of the Phoenix is a pretty nice and easy shield, especially when you're low life. Okay, I am low life. Low life means less than 35% life, right? And I'm reserving like 98% at the moment, so yeah, I have 2% life. That's way more than low life actually. But so we get more movement speed, we get a shitload of fire resistance, and the most important thing, 5% maximum fire resistance. And if you take a look at my fire resistance, I have 90% fire resistance, max fire resistance. This is the hard cap. And this is a good thing to have, because then my Righteous Fire doesn't really self-harm me a lot. So the more max fire resistance you have, the more you can skip on regen itself, okay? I have here a typical cast damage taking, Immortal Call, and increased duration setup, just to make my Immortal Call proc longer. Then we go to the chest, a typical shafts, no corruption, no nothing. This is basically because we are low life. Means chaos damage bypasses energy shield. So if you have a million energy shield but only 5 life, any chaos fart will kill you, because it will not affect energy shield. And that's why we use a shafts, because it says chaos damage does not bypass your energy shield. This is the only way to play like low life builds, okay? You need this mod. There is cheaper ways to go for, but let's be honest. How much does a 6-linked shafts cost? 4 exalts, 4.5 exalts. It is super cheap, this league, okay? So we have Vaal Righteous Fire, Elemental Focus, cause we don't hit, so we don't inflict any ailments. Efficiency support for more damage over time, and also skill effect duration. Then increased area of effect, obviously, to make my circle be bigger. Then we have burning damage and increased duration support. Increased duration support, as explained before, for making my Vaal Righteous Fire last longer. Then we have a Presence of Jeweler, which gives you quite a lot of energy shield. I would actually be stun immune from my Occultist Ascendancy, which is Vaal Bastion. Means as soon as I have energy shield, I'm stun immune. But still, it goes very well with low life builds, because we're gonna get 20% of maximum life converted to energy shield. So if I unequip this, I'm going down to 7,000 energy shield. So with that, it's 1.2k energy shield coming from the amulet, which is super easy to get. And it's not expensive at all, right? So 50k or 60k, so not that mentionable here. For the rings, I'm having a certain mod that I searched on the auction house. It's called the Guatelitsis mod. It's basically energy shield and percent energy shield regen, right? You can get this pretty cheap. I got those rings with the craft itself. It's a temple drop. I got it for a couple chaos, and then I just annulled it off and multi-modded it. The 0.4 regen is helping. I have this 2 times, right? But if you're just having an rings with like resistance and a lot of energy shield, you should be fine, okay? I'm having here an unset ring with +3 socketed level of gems. Why is that? Because Purity of Fire. Purity of Fire, and this is a kind of funny and nice thing to see here. Let's say Purity of Fire. This is something important here. So Purity of Fire will give you maximum fire resistance, okay? And once this gem reaches level, here we are, level 22, as soon as it hits 23, it goes to 5% maximum resistance. My gem is 21, and it gets 3 levels from the ring, means it's level 24, so somewhere here, right? So 23 at +2 level of socketed gem would be nice as well, just to get this 5 maximum fire resistance. So when you say like 5 fire resistance here, 5 here, how the fuck do you get to 90%? And this is because I'm having a lot of increased aura effect, okay? This is something I go over on the skill tree, because that has something to do with my glorious vanity jewel here. Okay, what else can we say here? Rings, as I said. Gloves, I just used those one for... I had them on my stash from a different build that I played, okay? I was just looking for energy shield resistance, okay? Spell damage leeches life, completely unnecessary. The thing on the silk gloves itself, it's increased spell damage. We don't need spell damage, okay? It's not like one of those builds where you have Righteous Fire as a side gem and then focus on a scorching ray that benefits from spell damage. No. Righteous Fire only scales from elemental damage, increased damage, or at least generic damage, okay? No spell damage. I know that Righteous Fire gives you spell damage if it's active, but it not benefits from it, so you cannot scale it with that. So that's why you need a lot of these pure percentage elemental damage, right? So don't worry about that. I'm using fingerless silk gloves with spell damage. I just had them on my stash and I was like, why should I recraft some sorcerer gloves if I just have double tier 1 res here that gives me a super easy time to cap my resistance, and I'm overcapped anyways, okay? It's just a faster way of capping my resistance here. And I'm having here Malevolence, a Blasphemy, Flammability, and Enlighten support. So we are getting one curse from our Witchfire Brew, and the second curse we can just use with a Blasphemy support because we're Occultist and we get Malediction, so we can apply 2 curses instead of 1, which is pretty nice to have. For the belt, I was taking a shaped crystal belt. Crystal belt would be the best energy shield base. And it's shaped because I wanted to have this mod 20% increased energy shield recovery rate. It works the same with all the life builds where I have life recovery rate on elder belts. This is the way your regen and your legion, whatever you have, your energy shield will just regen faster as usual. And that's 20% faster, right? So that's a very nice stat to have here. Other than that, just life resistance or whatever you need, or this mod that you can craft 2% life regen per second during any flask effect. And if you're wondering why do I need life regen, I'm having the Zealot's Oath, which gives life regen is applied to energy shield instead. So I'm not regenning life, I'm regenning energy shield. And for the boots, I'm having Elder Boots because I was looking for this increased duration mod. Like, all these mods come with a second stat, okay? So let's say I have increased area of effect in my shaped helmet, right? The second stat, it never comes alone. It's supported by area of effect and area of effect, where the area of effect is a global stat, same as the sorcerer boots here. One stat is that the gems that are in there have increased duration, but the second stat, the 15% increased skill effect duration, is a global thing. So my Vaal Righteous Fire, my Phase Run, everything profits from that. And here I have my Phase Run with Enhance and Efficiency. So why Efficiency? Increased skill effect duration, so my Phase Run lasts longer. Enhance gives quality, quality profits on the movement speed of this gem here, and Clarity because of my Watcher's Eye. Going over that on the Watcher's Eye itself. So here, Phase Run with the increased duration support, Enhance, and Efficiency. Just make sure that your Phase Run is not leveled up too much, because this thing will take a lot of dexterity, and we don't have that many dexterity, okay? So just take it as it is, as a movement. Like this one gives 55% movement speed, which is pretty nice to have. Check, Flasks, Soul Reaper. That's a bummer at the moment, because these flasks are expensive. I'm not gonna lie, I think 40 exalts or something, 35 at the moment. So I don't know why this flask is so expensive at the moment. I don't know any other streamer at the moment that uses Soul Reaper flask, but it's not a flask that is often produced, okay? And with often produced, I mean there is this Vial of Ghost, okay? And this one is a little bit cheaper actually. Vial of the Ghost. There you go. It's currently 5 exalts. No, it's more. This is just offline here. 40 exalts. So yeah, this is actually quite expensive as well. But if you take a look at a Soul Reaper flask, Soul Reaper, you're gonna see that this is actually a recipe. If you have this Soul Catcher flask and you use it with a Soul Reaper, like with the Vial of the Ghost on the Apex of Ascension, this is the sacrifice chamber, okay? The sacrifice chamber where you usually sacrifice belts in the hope to get a headhunter, okay? You're gonna use the flask, you sacrifice the flask, and in this small window, you're gonna add the Vial of the Ghost, and you're gonna get the Soul Reaper flask. If you really want to buy a Soul Reaper flask, check the price of that and compare it to the Vial of the Ghost. Because when the Soul Reaper flask was 40 exalts, I bought the Vial of the Ghost for 27 exalts. So I just saved 13 exalts just by making the flask myself, okay? And yeah, as I explained before, why we need that. And it also gives you more damage during effect, which is actually super nice to have as well for Vaal Righteous Fire. Then we have a Sulfur Flask for more regen and freeze immunity. Then a Ruby Flask for just AoE and less fire damage taken, which also helps with the regen here. As you see, I'm popping the flask. I'm degenning less, means I have more regen. A Witchfire Brew for more damage over time and Despair, and Quicksilver Flask for moving faster. Check. Let's take a look at the skill tree. What is fancy over here? So it's an Occultist build, so we start with the Energy Shield nodes, and this one is a little bit, yeah, different or weird, but I still want to cut into here so you can make your own Glorious Vanity. And as you see, I'm degenning quite hard here. Holy shit. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, anyways. So, the thing is, I have a Glorious Vanity here that changes the skills here, right? All of these nodes here and the small nodes, because this is the Vaal one. What I did was, I was taking this Glorious Vanity and I throw a Divine on it and equipping it. And then I checked what mods can I get. And I'm using 3 different mods in my tree here. What I actually wanted to have is this one, Exquisite Pain. That gives me more skill effect duration for Vaal Righteous Fire and that stuff, but also damage over time. I wanted to have this twice. And after divining a couple of those, trying to get 2 of those, I found out that there is Cult of Fire, which gives you +1 maximum fire resistance. And as you know, this is actually insane because you're less degenning on Righteous Fire. So the more max fire resistance you have, the better. And then we came across this one, the Commanding Presence. Commanding Presence gives you 11% increased effect of non-curse auras from your skills. Discipline, Malevolence, Vitality, Purity of Fire. All my auras will be stronger, okay? And I found out that I actually have 1, 2, 3 times the Commanding Presence next to my double Exquisite Pain and the Cult of Fire. So that was about 30-40 divines until I hit that. It's still into progress, what you can get actually. But stacking those made me have, like, I think more than 80% increased effect of my auras. And this is the reason why the hell do I have so much fire resistance. Cause my Purity of Fire, with all that holy shit, look at how fast I'm blowing here. My Righteous Fire doesn't, like, usually gives me 5% maximum fire resistance, right? But as you see here, I'm getting from 5% to way more. Which adds up, wait a second, I have 75 usually, 76, 81, okay? That means my Purity of Fire here, with all the effect of Flasks, effect of aura nodes here, gives me 9% maximum fire resistance, besides already giving me, I don't know how many fire resistance with all the effect, okay? As you see here, 32 to 113, right? Means I got 81 fire resistance and +9 maximum fire resistance coming from a Purity of Fire. And this is insane, okay? Probably you will think of, hey, I will never get a jewel like you have, right? So what should I replace, what should I not take, and so on. I would prioritize it, try to get Cult of Fire and Exquisite Pain, okay? And if you have, take those Commanding Presences on top, and they can be here, 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 here. There's a lot of spots that you can get those, okay? So make sure you check all of those, okay? And another point would be here, that you place it into here, because there is a lot of other nodes that you can actually take, right? And if you go down here, there is another Barbarism where you can get 1 max fire resistance. But for me personally, I don't really want to go down here. It's too many skill points on the road to get here, right? So that was the explanation over here. Just get your Glorious Vanity, throw a Divine on it, equip it, check the mods, and then if it's bad, just Divine it again, enter it, because every single Divine will make a new Glorious Vanity, okay? So the number will change, and also in the name of, I don't know, in the name of mbXtreme, okay? 1,500 sacrificed virgins, whatever. So, other than that, yeah, mana reserve, regen, life, energy shield, regen, less reserve, skill effect duration, all the typical stuff. So let's talk about the jewels real quick, because the path of building is in the description below as always. I'm using here energy from within with corrupted blood. Corrupted blood just because I'm not having a bleed immunity flask. I said that Righteous Fire will not trigger bleed, which is true, but your Blade Vortex will. So if you have mobs that will give you corrupted blood on hit, the Blade Vortex will deliver that blood, and that's the problem, okay? That's why I'm using a corrupted blood over here. You can use any other corrupted blood, or skip the Dying Sun, for example, or the Sulfur Flask freeze immunity would be nice to have. So just skip the Dying Sun and get another Ruby Flask with bleed immunity, for example, okay? What else do we have here? Glorious Vanity we said. Here I'm having just a regular Righteous Fire jewel, which is increased fire damage, burning damage, and energy shield. Nothing too special. Here we have a somewhat special jewel, which is the Efficient Training. The problem is, I have no freaking chance to get strength on this witch, okay? I have now 159, but only because I took this 30 and this 30, and I crafted strength on my helmet, and I'm still was lacking so much because my vitality does soak up so much strength, right? And I want to have a lot of regen. So the easiest way to do that is taking efficient training, which converts your intelligence into strength, right? And if I socket it into here, I get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 50% strength here, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus... No, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4 plus the 24 here, right? So it's like 60, 70, 80 strength that you get from this jewel. So you're able to get your strength here, okay? Then Zealot's Oath for just transferring the life regen into energy shield. Then we have more fire damage. Here we have a lot of sovereignty, which means effect of auras, same as these commanding presence, and less mana reserved, right? Because we're actually having a lot of stuff reserved. So we have vitality, discipline on life, and we have malevolence, clarity, purity of fire, and flammability, blasphemy on mana. So the only thing that I'm using clarity, what you're probably not gonna have, is because I have max ES clarity, okay? So as soon as I stop using my clarity, I'm just losing, yeah, 400 ES, okay? So, wow. If you don't want to use clarity, you just use a portal gem instead, okay? I just had this jewel, so that's why I'm using clarity. So don't use the clarity if you don't have the mod. There is 2 mods that are important, right? Flat life regen per vitality, which get converted into energy shield. And the second mod is increased energy shield recovery rate while affected by discipline. I was using other Watcher's Eye jewels, like... Wait, where is it? This one, for example, where I have maximum ES clarity and life recovery rate by vitality, right? So is this one. Life recovery rate... Oh, actually, I sold the other one. No, doesn't matter. The thing is, the life recovery rate only works on life. And yes, I know that sounds actually quite logic, right? But I thought that it's going to be converted to Zealot's Oath as well, to energy shield. But no, that's not the fact. So you need to have increased energy shield recovery rate by discipline and flat life by vitality. This is actually the best thing that you can go to regen your righteous fire. So anything else here? Probably not. Skill effect duration, the typical stuff, damage over time, and so on. If you're lacking reserved mana, because I'm using here leadership plus influence plus the sovereignty, so I'm having 3 clusters that have reserved life, at least reserved mana. So I'm skipping one of those because I had enough mana reserved. So I'm just dropping to 43, which is super easy to sustain your righteous fire, or at least like your phase run. By the way, Scorching Ray. So much talking. Okay, let's go over the cosmetics real quick. The typical Transcendent set with the helm, body armor, gloves, and boots, celestial character effect, and the footprints, the wings. Then we have the dark prison weapon, celestial weapon effect, and the Sin and Innocence shield with this weird Sin Talon helmet attachment, these weird things here. So we have the blue Harbinger righteous fire. I know that actually this one is more beautiful, actually. Why can I not use my righteous fire here? Having too low life? I don't know. Doesn't matter. The thing is that the floor is getting celestial. Once you pop your Vaal righteous fire, you're not seeing anything else but celestial. And that's why I'm using the Harbinger, just to see through the righteous fire effect. Then Demonic Blade Vortex, the Shaper, Scourging Ray. I'm the Shaper now. Dark Immortal Call, Monolith Aura effect. Discipline has no MTX. Then Soul Nexus. Then we have Malevolence, Celestial Aura effect, and that's about it. So, Bandits. Bandits, I killed all. Yeah, I killed all. So, if you're having issues with sustaining Righteous Fire, you can help Oak, because Oak will give you 1% regen. Since we're not a crit build, I don't need Elira, so you're just gonna kill everything for those 2 skill points. For the Pantheons, here, this time it's a little bit more interesting, because if we stop taking damage over time recently, we get more effect of our recovery rate of life and energy shield if you upgrade that one. But the more important effect is Soul of Arakali, 5% reduced damage taken from damage over time, which is Righteous Fire. Same as the Soul of Aberoth, 5% reduced fire damage taken while moving. That means as soon as I move with Righteous Fire on, I'm having less of these degen effects, so I'm regenning way more. So this is actually important. Those are all small steps if you want to sustain your Righteous Fire, right? Soul of Arakali, Soul of Aberrath, then having your vitality, your recovery rate, maybe Oak, for example, for more regen. On the rings is a possibility. On the skill tree, here is life regen, here is life regen, growth and decay here, right? Then we have life regen over here, so you want to have a lot of regen, right? So you're not gonna get as much regen as the Juggernaut version, but you're still having way than enough to sustain your Righteous Fire. So I think enough talking, and yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of build. It's actually super fancy. It's not a headhunter, but there is another expensive item, which is the Flask, which sucks. But as I said, maybe you're lucky in the temple, because the Vial of the Ghost is dropped by the temple boss. This weird Atsuatl thing, dude boss. So if you're feeling lucky, just kill those bosses and hope that they are dropping it. So, okay, anything else? I hope not. If you have any questions, feel free to write it in the comments below. As I said, Path of Building link is in the description below. So guys, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you on the next video.